It is a 7-module program. It begins with self-awareness. It really begins with this idea of understanding emotional intelligence, understanding the impact of emotional intelligence in the workplace, and really taking a deep dive into self-awareness. We use 2 assessments at the beginning of the program. The first is an emotional intelligence appraisal. And what that's going to do is just to give a baseline for where are you on the 4 skills of emotional intelligence, and in terms of self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. Which of those skills do you feel like you're strong at, and which are some skills that maybe you need some attention? When I took that assessment the first time, my scores came out high on self-awareness and low on social awareness. That means I'm very self-aware of how I show up and what my behaviors are, but I wasn't aware that other people were different from me. I overthink everything. I'm highly reflective. Isn't everybody? Right? So suddenly it was like, so there are people who make decisions much more quickly than me. What does that look like? I don't do that. And that's not me. How do I start to learn that behavior? What are some situations in which that would actually be really helpful if I didn't go as into the data as I do? So we get that baseline on emotional intelligence. And then the really nice thing with that is at the end of the program, you can actually retake the assessment so that you can take a look and measure progress. The other assessment that we use is a tool called the Berkman method. And that's really a phenomenal tool. The Berkman method has been around since 1951. It was designed by Dr. Roger Berkman, who was, in my mind, a genius. And what it really looks at is it measures how you show up, right? What are those learned behaviors? How do you see yourself being productive? And then we take all of that information and we apply that then to many common leadership situations that you're going to find yourself in. The first one we start with is feedback. And we start with, how do I receive feedback first, right? How do I want to receive feedback? And what do I do when I don't get it that way? And then we look at how can I deliver feedback in a manner that can be heard by everybody. Then we look at building effective teams. We look at how do we build a team? How do we take a team from being a collection of people who report to the same person to a fully functioning, well-functioning, high-performing team? And we go through a series of simulations to build some of those critical functions that high-performing teams do really well. So those are our vertical. When I'm leading in a vertical, I lead a team. Then as you start going up in an organization, the horizontal, my ability to collaborate and influence at my peer level becomes much more important. The higher I go in an organization, the more my peers will impact my ability to be successful. So the next thing we look at is influence and collaboration. How do I influence in situations in which I don't have positional power, right? I don't have authority. And that's where we're really starting to look at the skill of inquiry. And how do I ask good open-ended questions? How do I really listen? How do I ask follow-up probes? How do I focus my attention on what the person is saying to find the root cause of disagreement rather than advocating for my own position? We will always come back to the question of, okay, here's the model, we'll practice the concept. Now, given who you are, what may be difficult and what may be easy for you? How much are you going to need to stretch in your development? How consciously are you going to need to think about trying on these other behaviors? Then we get into inspiring other people to take action, right? I can tell people or I can inspire people. So how do we communicate in a manner that people really understand the why and really understand that what I need to do and why I need to do it? I get commitment versus compliance. And really thinking about how what I say and what I do, how are those aligned? There's the culture that I say I want to create. How does my day-to-day behavior either support that or perhaps undermine what I'm saying? And then finally, the challenge that all of us are dealing with every day, which is communicating effectively through change and uncertainty. And really, if there was ever a time that tests our emotional intelligence and our social awareness, our relationship management skills, it's communicating through change. And what we really look at there is acknowledging that change is a people process. It looks great on paper, but people have got to execute that change. And it's their ability to execute it and believe in it and move forwards in it in a manner that is effective that's going to make or break that change transformation. So really looking at that from a leadership standpoint to accurately diagnose where people are and matching my leadership message to where they are as opposed to where I want them to be, making sure that I am meeting people where they are in their emotional change curve. And so all of this is wrapped up with individual development planning as well as some small group coaching. And as I said, what we always do in every single class is always come back to that central question. Given who you are, what's going to be easy and what's going to be difficult for you, so that you have a robust development plan which is intended to help you be more effective with more different types of people in more different situations. So that's the program. It's an extremely interactive program. We have a lot of fun. We learn a lot within the cohort because you'll be working with people in the class who are probably behaviorally very similar to the person you may be challenged with at work. And so now you can start to see how those, the value of those other behavioral styles.